This is the soldering iron. This is the little rounded tip that you're going to need. This is the oscillating tool. This is the bit that I'm currently using that is working rather well. Your Loctite epoxy or plastic weld, and a premium outdoor sealant, waterproof. Pipe, you're going to go ahead, you're going to take the 6 screws out of here. You will need a various assortment of star bits in order to do so. You're going to go ahead, take your oscillating tool, and you're just going to want to run right along this back side of this seam. That way you're not destroying anything up front, and all this plastic will be able to go right back together once you're finished. So go ahead and take your oscillating tool, turn it on.
Once you feel it go through, then just start moving your way. The longer you sit, the more it melts.
You're going to go ahead, you're going to go all the way around the entire outside. You can see I've already started making some of the cuts here. This right here is the main difficult part. I would need to pull that screw, but you really need to try and stay on this line as much as possible, because that's what holds the entire intersection together. So you will need to make sure that you do make that separation right there on that corner. Beyond that, just go all the way around. I've already got my soldering iron all heated up here, so I'm just going to show you with the rounded tip. You start right here and just make a couple of passes. It melts all that plastic right back together. Try not to stay in one spot for too long. Because I am remelting all of this plastic, I try not to clean up all the edges so much when I'm doing my halo install, just because it does give me more plastic to be able to utilize to get this back together. Once you feel like you've got a good area, then we're going to go ahead and just make sure there's no open holes if you can. And then we would go ahead from there. Once it cools, then we would use the plastic bonder or the plastic weld, whichever one you can find at your local hardware store. Just fill in this whole crack, and it's just going to continue just melting it all right back together. Once that dries, then you're going to go through with your weatherproof sealer and give it another layer here. Go ahead and get yourself some rubber gloves. That way you can just spread it evenly. I chose black, even though this would never ever be seen by anybody. I just wanted to be able to keep it looking nice. So if you have any questions, just contact us via Facebook or email, and we'll get right back to you. Video, we're going to show how to take apart the racetrack taillights on the 2013 Dodge Dart, and 14 and most likely 15. Pretty much you're going to end up going through, you're going to use your oscillating tool. You're going to make your cuts right along here, right along this edge here on the back side. You're going to do that all the way around, even going up and cutting right along the back side of these black tabs here. Just try to stay away from those. You don't want to damage those. You'll go all the way around. The only other obstacle that you're going to have is this indentation here. This is the indentation that for the trunk pop button. You will need to cut this whole square out, just simply because if you look here on an old set that I completely just dismantled, it goes through and it gets mounted to the front plate, or the front lens rather. So you will need to cut that out, or you will not get a separation, and if you try tugging on it, you most likely will break the front cover. So basically, you would end up just taking your oscillating tool. You can see I've already got a bunch of cuts there. Got a bunch of cuts there, so let's go on this side here. You're going to want to just kind of stay put and just keep it moving when you get it started, just so it doesn't melt too bad. The reason why we're using this oscillating tool instead of a Dremel is because the Dremel just creates way too much friction and melts way too much of the plastic to where it just distorts and you can't quite get it back together in a respectful manner. So just make sure you keep this thing moving. Don't stay in one spot too long or you're going to end up melting too much and distorting things. Let's go ahead. Okay, you can see I've got a good line. I can see red through there, so I know I have gotten all the way through. My soldering iron is still heated up, and so now I would show you how to put it back together once you've installed your lights. You just take your round nub, and you can see my buildup of all the plastic. I want to keep that there. That way I can just push it right back into that crack, and it just erases that hole. And again, try not to stay in one spot for too long, or you'll end up just doing more work for yourself later trying to clean that back up. Even though I do understand none of this would ever be seen once you put the racetracks back in, no one would ever know that you've done any of this work to it. So as you can see, it doesn't take too long. However, just have patience. Just take your time. Do a good job. You don't want any water getting back inside that seam at any later points. So here you can see it's all closed in. From that point there, I would use my Loctite, but I would suggest do the whole thing just because this plastic, the bonder, it does dry up rather quickly in the tube. And so you just want to be able to go as one fell swoop all the way around at one time. That way you can utilize the epoxy as best you can. Once that dries, then you go back in with your premium outdoor sealant. Again, I would still use black just to keep the consistency all the way through and through. If you have any questions, go ahead and contact us. We are brighttails.com. We have our main page at www.brighttails.com, and we have our store show at our store site at www.shop.brighttails.com. Thank you.